The advice and opinions expressed by the host of Autism Live and her guests are meant solely as suggestion and should not be in any way construed as child-specific advice. The Center for Autism and Related Disorders advises working with a board-certified behavior analyst who has experience with autism before starting any intensive behavioral intervention. Any choices you make in determining your child's treatment are completely at your own discretion.
Good morning and welcome to Autism Live. If you're just tuning in and you're thinking, what is going on? I want you to know that 1 week a year, CARD has a very special week that we call it CARD Spirit Week, and it is the week when we celebrate our fearless leader, Dr. Doreen Grant-Pichet, because it's her birthday, either the week before or the week after. It was her birthday on Sunday. I know you'll all join me in wishing her the very happiest of birthday. But for an entire week, we take the opportunity to celebrate the fact that we're here, that we're together, that she's amazing, and that all together at CARD, lives are being changed because of the path that she set out on, and the path that she's taking all of us on, that journey that she's taking. So every day at all the different CARD offices, there is a different thing. Monday was Crazy Sock Day. Yesterday was Pick a Decade and Dress Like That Decade. And today, in case you can't figure it out, is Superhero Day. So I am CARD mom for the day. Nancy will be in costume later on. I'm frightened because she wouldn't tell me what it was. And you know how Nancy is with costumes. So I just want to say, because we spent all day yesterday trying to figure out what superhero I was going to be, and then it just made sense to be CARD mom. I'm wearing sunglasses for the moment because the future is so bright when you're a CARD mom that you need sunglasses, but we always need a flashlight, and our hands have to be available. So hence the flashlight, so that we can peer into the dark. I just want to say that I know some superheroes. I just never knew how difficult it is for them to use the restroom. And that's all I'm going to say about that. It's a time-intensive thing. But anyway, we're thrilled to be here with you this morning. It is Wednesday. And Wednesday is my favorite day of the week because we start out the show with Ask Dr. Doreen. Dr. Doreen, I'm going to lose the sunglasses so that we can have conversations together. Dr. Doreen Grant-Pichet is here. She is also dressed as a superhero, which we're thrilled about. And she's going to be answering your questions in just a few minutes. In our second hour today, Nancy Alspaugh-Jackson will be joining me. And that's for Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy. We have a wonderful guest from Waddell and Reed who's going to be talking about why they have made the monumental decision to sponsor the Act Today Fun Run for military families that goes to help provide grants for military families. We're going to be talking about that a lot this week and next week, why that's so super important to support that. And so Nancy will be here, and a guest from Waddell and Reed will be here, and then we'll be talking with them a little bit about how important it is to get our financial affairs together and to get some professional help to do that when we have a family member who's on the autism spectrum. I want to remind you that our entire show is meant to be interactive, that we hope that you will participate with us. Kelby's going to show you some of the different ways that you can participate. I'll remind you that our homepage, autism-live.com, is where you can go, one of the places you can go to watch the live show. And it has a live feature that is just to the side of where the computer screen is, that if you click the triangle, you can be watching the show. And then if you put your cursor in the box that says your question, you can be having a conversation with me. And so much more important than that, you can be having a conversation with Dr. Grant-Pichet or any of our other guests and experts who appear here on the show. I hope that you'll do that. It's free. It's anonymous. Please put as much information as you would like into that little box. All you have to do is push enter and it shows up here on my screen. We thank you. We're excited. It is time for Ask Dr. Doreen.
Dr. Doreen Grant-Pichet is the
Dr. Doreen is an expert in autism.
Doreen Grant-Pichet.
Dr. Grant-Pichet.
Dr. Doreen Grant-Pichet.
Dr. Doreen Grant-Pichet is a visionary in the field of autism. Now you can ask her questions on Ask Dr. Doreen.
Welcome to Ask Dr. Doreen. I was just saying during the break, I'm going to lose the gloves here too because I can't swipe. I need text-friendly gloves. And I've got a cape, and I said, I know why Edna Moles in The Incredibles says no capes. Because they get caught in things.
They do. It's pretty hard.
Yeah, and they choke a little bit.
I think I have a little cape.
You
too
do
on
have a
this,
little capelet.
but it's sort of a mini cape. Yeah.
You have a capelet. It's a lovely thing. Then it's not as you can't be strangled by it. Hopefully, I'm talking with, in case you didn't know, Dr. Doreen Grant-Pichet, our fearless hero, and the person that we are celebrating this week. And very happy birthday on
Thank you
Sunday.
very much. It's been a really fun birthday as always.
Well, and we're going to talk about that a little bit throughout the show because we had a big surprise here on Friday for Dr. Grant-Pichet that we're going to share at least part of with you in a little while. And then we have a new video that we're debuting this morning about somebody that I know you happen to love. So all of that to celebrate your birthday here at Autism Live.
That's so amazing.
For those of you who don't know Dr. Grant-Pichet, she is the preeminent expert, I believe, in autism in our time, which what other time is there, right, than now, and has been working in this field for multiple decades with all kinds of individuals on the autism spectrum. She founded the Center for Autism and Related Disorders. So it isn't even just autism. Many of you write in and say, well, he has ADHD or she has, there are many things that are related to autism that aren't autism.
Yeah.
And she has dealt with babies all the way up through senior citizens. This is the woman. She the woman.
Thank you so much. That's really nice. Yeah.
And
but we have started really actively working with different diagnoses, which is kind of fun because of course ABA works with everything.
Yeah. And I always like to remind everybody that you truly are a visionary in this field.
You embarrass me, but I appreciate it.
I don't know why you'd be embarrassed by that. You are an expert, and you are an expert who sees things. You are also amazing at perspective taking.
Thank you so much.
So that you not only, I love to watch you interact with people who are on the spectrum and to see how you are in the compassion. But ultimately, I want to be somebody who interacts the way in which you do because I don't think I'm sure that you see that there is a different, but I see clearly that it matters not to you.
No, I can't really tell the difference.
Well, there we have it. And I think we all need to get there. But I also think that you are one of the most caring, compassionate people in this field, if not the most caring, compassionate person with parents.
Thank you very much.
I think you get that in a way that other people just don't. And that's one of the highest compliments I can give.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That I got into this field because of parents. It was particularly a few moms who I was pretty young at UCLA, and the moms would come and just talk to me about how they felt. And I
You mean card moms?
Yeah, exactly. I just couldn't leave it anymore. I was like, okay, if there's anything I have to do it for these people. So
if we could take that and spread that and especially get that to our politicians and lawmakers, that'd be a powerful thing, right?
That would.
But in any case, we're thrilled to be here and celebrating your birthday. If you're just tuning in, it is Superhero Day at the Center for Autism and Related Disorders to celebrate Dr. Grant-Pichet's birthday and her being on the planet, and we call it Card Spirit Week.
Thank you so much. Well, and also just to celebrate each other. I think there's so many incredible, exceptional people at CARD, and we take this week to have fun. It is appropriate because it's part of April, obviously, but it's just a lot of fun, and our kids enjoy it. And so, coming to our centers and seeing everybody dressed up every day is a fun thing for them.
Absolutely. I will say that this is a group of people who are young at heart.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excuse me. Okay, so I want to jump into some questions, but of course I have a tickle in my throat. Forgive me. Okay, our first question came in yesterday about school visitations. What can I say so that they will let me visit my son at school? I'm not going to say his name. I'm about to start volunteering at the library, but they won't even let me walk in and drop off my son at his classroom. Very frustrated, and thank you for all of your very valuable information. God bless you.
Yeah, I don't know what the background is for this because it's actually illegal to not let a parent visit their child, and there will be a lot of different reasons that are given, like possibly they'll tell you you're disrupting the class or he does better when you don't. All of that stuff aside, You have the right to visit your child, and unless the law has recently changed, from what I know, and I know you're going to get verification from one of our attorney friends, but from my knowledge, you are allowed to visit your child at any time. The requirement is to give them notice and to limit your visit to 20 minutes each time. Now, that's the absolute minimum. Obviously, you can arrange things with the school so that you can, a lot of schools will let you just stay longer, visit multiple times, and so on and so forth. But it concerns me if they don't allow you to visit your son.
Absolutely. I'm a former teacher. I taught college, but I also taught in junior high and high school. And any time that you cannot come into the classroom, I understand that with special needs kids, there is a different consideration, and that it can sometimes, if not done properly, be disruptive. But the truth of the matter is people come in that door all day long. Don't let them lie to you and say, oh, we don't like to interrupt that when,
And also,
it's not true.
And also, I always tell our supervisors this too. Anything that disrupts behavior is an opportunity to teach.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you have people come in and have the children be a little disturbed or disrupted so that you can teach them to handle it when people come in?
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of life.
It's preposterous, and you do have a right, as far as we know, and again, I am going to check with one of our lawyer consultants, you do have the right to go into the classroom. This started a couple of weeks ago that we had somebody write in and say they won't let me look at the placement that they're offering my child.
Which also is just ludicrous.
Right, you have a right to that, and if you push, they will let you.
Right.
They will let you, as you said, they will say 20 minutes, and they'll say that one of the administrative staff has to come along with you. Bring them. Bring them. Make it uncomfortable for them. Do it as often as you can. And I think it's great that you're volunteering in the classroom. But I'm with you. Any school, any classroom that won't let you in on a semi-regular basis, be concerned. There's a reason why they won't let you in, and that really worries me.
Yeah, it does. It's just in so many different ways. Even if your child was a typically developing child, you're not giving your child to them. They're just a placement. They're a place that you place your child for the day, and you have to feel completely safe, and you have to be able to trust that they're doing the right thing. And too many times, unfortunately, we've learned that people take advantage of situations and don't give the attention and teaching that they should to our children with disabilities.
Yep. And they'll tell you that it violates the other kid's rights. That's not the case.
Not at all.
And if you need, get it all in writing, your requests.
Right.
Tell them when you're coming, and get them to put it in writing that you can't.
Exactly.
And then if they still don't let you, I would lawyer up.
Yeah, you definitely have cause if they actually do put in writing. A lot of times it's hard to get these people to put anything in writing.
Yeah.
But if you do get it in writing, then an attorney will definitely be able to guide you in regards to this. And there's other advocates, special education advocates, that are not as expensive and can also help you in regards to this. I mean, even if you just read your rights in terms of what you are allowed, and these are rights that are supposed to be given to you when your child has an IEP. It's actually a few pieces of paper that are given to you. All your rights are written in there, including this.
Yeah. And the other thing, I think we all have worries as moms about, well, I don't want to be the squeaky wheel, and what if they're mean to him or her because I did whatever. If that's seriously your concern, then it's a bigger issue than that. Be the squeaky wheel. I showed up on a regular basis, and if I wasn't getting my way when I knew I was supposed to, and they were stolen, I was saying, I'm very good friends with this and so reporter. I think they'd be interested to know about this.
Yeah.
Let us know if you need more help.
Yeah, and I hate to go to this level, but I know some parents where the school has just made it very, very difficult for them. And I know parents who have put recorders in their child's backpack, who have put spy cams, which are very easy to purchase now, which actually videotape any motion that occurs as well as sound. And so it's pretty easy these days to be able to see what's going on with your kid.
Yeah, it's illegal. We have to say that. But you know what? When you use it, if you were to, and we're certainly not advocating that you do that, but if you were to,
Yeah.
just to see what's happening, and you were to find something that's illegal, that becomes a very interesting discussion. And parents have done that.
Many parents I know have done
yeah,
that.
and
But
that
just
moves the
simply
dial.
because they're being denied their rights to observe their kids.
That's right. So I love that you're going to be at the library, but keep pushing. Okay, I have to say, somebody wrote in. We have a new interview that we did with Nicholas Yates that we're going to be showing in just a few minutes. We did the Temple Grandin in the car video, and we have a new video with Nick Yates in the car. And somebody said, "OMG, Shannon, love your drive interviews. How can you concentrate while driving? Amazing." Well, that would be Kelby in the back seat. Kelby makes sure that I go the right way, that I don't turn into traffic.
I love it. I love it.
It's all Kelby.
It's like that the karaoke show, you know.
Exactly.
I love that.
I love that too.
Yeah.
And Jerry, we got the idea between that and Jerry Seinfeld, the comedians in cars. So we're trying to do more of those car interviews. But you can see Kelby's handsome head in the back seat, taking care of everything. He's all but driving the car, but he's telling me, okay, you need to stop here. There's a stop sign, because I become brain dead. Okay, we're gonna move on one question, and then we're gonna show some videos in just a minute, because we have a lot of fun videos to show today. Somebody said, "I'm from Newark, Delaware, and I have lived in Callahan, Florida the last 6 years. I have a son, 23, and a daughter, 17. On the spectrum. My son graduated high school 3 years ago. He would like to work and take classes." Of course he would. "Do you know where I can get help with this?"
Yeah, that's fantastic, and congratulations. Good for you. I'm not aware of places in Delaware. We are very involved with vocational skills for our adults so that we can place them. What is the name of that adults program that we just talked about and we were meeting with?
Autism Works Now.
Autism Works Now is another resource where you can maybe contact them. Maybe they know of people in Delaware that can help. There's a lot of people getting involved with this exact thing right now. I know we at CARD this is one of the things I love, is teaching our adults jobs. It's a fabulous experience. So I think I would look up vocational skills for adults, and then you'll find something local.
I will say, too, I'm not 100% positive, but we've had Torkil Sone on the show. He is a Danish gentleman who has the company Specially Stern, and he has come to the United States and is starting little pilot programs in different places to train individuals on the spectrum and with related things to work in specific. Now, he was in Delaware, I think 6 months ago. I don't know if he still is working specifically. So I would look into that and see how, Delaware's a pretty small state.
Yes.
And I know that he was about to move, he has a plan. He was in
see.
Delaware, and then I think he was going to South Carolina, and then, I think he's coming to San Francisco, and we're hoping we can get him to come to Los Angeles. But I would look into that, because even if he is gone, the program is probably, but it was centered in Delaware. So that's kind of
great.
A lucky coincidence.
That's very good.
All right, we are going to take our first break, and I'm going to ask Kelby what video he would like to debut first. What are you in the mood for, Kelby? All right, let's go to the flash mob. I want to set it up a little bit here. So on Friday, for the last couple of months, you guys have met Bryce Myler on the show, and she is an amazing crazy woman. Crazy in all the best possible ways that you can be crazy. And she wanted to do a flash mob for Dr. Grandpichet's birthday and whipped us all into shape.
Unbelievable.
And moved mountains. I'm not kidding. And almost had a stress heart attack on Friday because it kept threatening to rain and then rain, and then it would clear up. And she was doing the reverse rain dance all day long, and we were monitoring her blood pressure. But anyway, the anticipation was insane. And Dr. Grandpichet didn't know anything about it.
I had no idea.
And it's a total of 3 songs. My son is one of the dancers. Kelby and I were videotaping, although I think it was more Kelby videotaping. I don't think my videotape came to anything. But here's the problem with it. There were 3 separate songs, actually 4 if you count the little opening. And YouTube won't allow us to, because of copyright issues, to play those songs. So we are going to, you'll hear Bryce talking, and then Kelby's going to turn the sound down, so you won't hear the music, but Dr. Grandpichet and I will give you the color commentary on it, because I'd
That
love to
sounds
hear
great.
what you were going
Oh my
through.
gosh, I can't wait to
And,
see the video.
yeah. So here it is, the flash mob to end all flash mobs for Dr. Grandpichet's birthday.
Like it or not, we came up with something especially for you. This may be the worst thing you or anyone have ever seen. It probably will be, but it's from us and it's from the heart. What you will see in the next few minutes is a tribute to the most amazing boss, friend, clinician, humanitarian, wife, mother, etc. that we have ever met. Doreen Grandpichet, this is for you. Hit it, Ray.
Crazy.
It's fun. We're live now, so it's fun for us to see, because we didn't see this view of it.
I'm like giving my camera to Sunny and saying, videotape this. And then I realized that it's already being videotaped, of course.
And your face was absolutely amazing. And if you can imagine,
It's crazy.
we were down there an hour before. Everybody was rehearsing, and they had been rehearsing for weeks in the gym. Everybody paranoid that you would find out. And I think right now it's still the warm up. There's some Blues Brothers music playing right now. They're just getting into position, and you must have thought we were nuts.
I just couldn't believe it. I hadn't realized yet at this point that this is an actual flash mob. Like, I didn't know what is going on. You know what I mean? And
Right.
then I think it starts with.
And this is the beginning of it.
Yeah.
And the first song, if I remember correctly, is it's
Genesis.
Genesis.
Invisible Touch.
Invisible Touch. And all of these songs were handpicked because they were songs that spoke to us about you, and we were told, Greg, your husband informed Bryce that these were songs that you liked.
Yes, absolutely.
And Bryce got 3 cheerleaders.
I know, I heard.
And we'll have to show you the video that everybody was practicing to. There was
I'd love to see that.
There was a video on Vimeo so that everybody could learn the dances.
It was amazing. I was just so shocked. And then I started noticing people.
Right.
Like first I noticed Magic. I don't know if you can see it. The Magic is the unicorn from Skills.
Way in the back.
He's so he's in the right side. And I'm thinking, oh my God, Magic is dancing as well. And then I started noticing, like, first, of course, the kids in the front.
Right.
And then I saw, okay, my husband and my daughter also joined them. At what point did that happen? And then I saw, you can barely see, and I wish I could see it better, but right behind that plant, right on the left of it, is Sarah Cho and Evelyn, and
yeah.
I couldn't get over Sarah Cho's facial expressions. She's our director of ops, of course, for people who don't know, and she was so into this performance.
And in, 5-inch heels? That was
in 5-inch heels, and she was just, but she was so, look at how good, I mean, it's actually a pretty amazing performance.
Pretty cohesive. And my son is in the stripes way on the left.
Yes.
He had a ball. And we have a ton of footage. We even taped some of the rehearsals so that you can.
Oh,
and we
that's
got
so
close-ups.
wonderful.
But on the timeline, Kelby tied GoPros to the top of the umbrellas. That's how we got these shots here.
Oh my gosh.
So now we're
that's
into the
so
second
smart.
song, which is I Say a Little Prayer for You.
I love that song. I absolutely love it. And see, for me, it was like, I think I just kept seeing new things. Like, I hadn't noticed all the people who came from Arcadia.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
suddenly I looked and I was like, oh my gosh, there's people here from other offices.
And you can't see, but off to the side, there's a whole bunch of people from the card offices who are watching.
Who are watching as well.
The chickens who didn't want to be on camera dancing.
I know, it's so amazing.
I love the choreography, though. So fun. And so fun to see Bryce there in the front. It was nothing short of amazing
It
to
truly
pull it all
is.
off.
It's that many people. I mean, I think there's like, I don't know, maybe 80 people there or something. It's pretty amazing. And then I kept wondering, like, how did these people coordinate this? When did they practice this? How do I not know anything about this?
We had the Girl Scouts come in. Kelby videotaped them here on the green screen, and he put it up on Vimeo so that people could be watching it and rehearsing on their own. And then there were many times that here at headquarters they went, and it's a lovely gym, but it's not like it's huge.
No, it's tiny. There's no way you could fit that many people in there.
So they would go in and watch on the screen and do it together. But a lot of it was people doing it at home. Jem was doing it in my office last week, and I kept saying, if Dr. Grandpichet comes in, you say to her, this is your new workout program.
Yeah.
You don't tell her what you're doing. And so we were practicing lying, which is always a good skill.
It's so great. It's just so well done. It's amazing. It's crazy.
No, we'll come back after this, Kelby. And now we're going into the last song, which is Brown Eyed Girl.
Oh, right. Which is so nice. It's also one of my favorites.
Well, and you are our Brown Eyed Girl, so I love that you started dancing.
I did. I started getting into it. It was just so great.
Now, I don't know if you realized, I don't want to give anything away, but we also had a screen that was there so that they could see the cheerleaders, so that they could, if they got lost.
Yes, I noticed yes, of course. And I asked a lot of people, and they said they were just looking at the person in front of them.
Exactly.
And, but everybody was very familiar. I guess what I heard is Bryce had sent these videos out to people with instructions, and yeah, amazing, just absolutely amazing.
I love the sprinkler move that they do in this dance when they do the sprinkling.
Oh yeah, that's such a good move too. But it's like, it's just so crazy to have that many people. It's amazing.
Well, and you know, it was so fun to see the kids there. My son had such a good time. And I see Magic moved up to the front.
See, Magic,
when I was watching, because I was running the camera that's doing your reaction, so I was watching you the whole time, but I had seen the rehearsal.
Yeah.
But you were more fun, I think.
Oh, I was just astonished because I kept looking at other people. I was like, you know, I was amazed at all the people who had driven up from other places, and like, it was crazy. It was amazing. Good job, Bryce.
So fun.
Good job, everyone. Like, making this happen. It's incredible. It's just amazing. And, you know, following moves like this is not easy.
No, and they were such good sports about it. So we really want to thank Bryce and want to thank
everyone. I want to thank everyone. Kelby and you, Shannon.
Honestly,
thank you so much.
I just was along for the ride. It was Kelby and Bryce.
Such a fabulous experience for me. I'll never forget it. It was just amazing.
So cool. And then after this, Bryce had tons and tons of flowers so that each person who was there got to come up, have just a second with you, hug you, give you a flower, so that you ended up with this big bouquet of flowers from everybody.
And you know, in my house now, and then she also, on top of all the flowers that everybody gave me, she had also bought like a massive amount of white lilies, which are all over my house right now, and they're just fantastic, you know. So that's my favorite flower, and I just couldn't believe it. Yesterday I went home and I had put them in different rooms, and it's just like the whole house smells fantastic now.
They are beautiful.
It's such a great birthday. So thanks to everyone. It was really meaningful. I'll never forget it.
The only thing I feel bad about is that we do have some raw footage, because there was this whole conspiracy about that your husband was going to call Bryce and we were going to know when you were in the parking garage, and you must have thought he was distracted because he kept texting saying we're 5 minutes away. No, now we're 5 minutes away.
He should have had one of the kids
goodness.
drive or something.
Right.
But he told me nothing. He just said I have you from this time to this time.
Right.
And I thought like we're gonna go to a spa or something, you know.
Right.
And then we drive into Card. And then I thought, okay, maybe we're having dinner with some of the core people, like at Card. And then and I'm like, why are we going the delivery back path, you know? Anyway, I didn't ask anymore. So then I was like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Then I saw Bryce. I still didn't know. I thought, okay, a few people are maybe going to give a speech. Then when people started running out, I was like, oh my God, what just happened? Like, I really couldn't believe it.
And they had been hidden around the corner of the building for like a half an hour.
I know.
And I guess I wasn't a part of that, but my husband was there and my son was there, and they said they had such a good time over in
the corner.
waiting. But they were trying to be quiet, and there was this anticipation. And Kelby and Bryce and a couple of other people that were running the equipment, we were out, and Bryce was pacing.
Yeah.
And she was like, I don't, when are they going to be here? And she was like, it's 5 minutes, it's 5. And everybody was, places, and we had the cameras already going. So we have all of that raw footage that we'll have to share with you at some point. And honestly, all of us were saying, I can't take it.
Yeah.
I can't take it. When is she going to get here? We were like kids on Christmas Eve. And then finally, and every time we could hear a car in the garage, we're like, it's them, it's them. It's a big garage.
It's a huge garage.
And the rest of us were trying to hide so that you wouldn't see us, you would see Bryce. And Greg
I didn't see anyone until I came in.
We had a pop-up tent. We had a blue pop-up tent, but we were trying to hide as if, that was possible.
Amazing.
But, and Bryce had a microphone. And the one thing that we had said to her was a wireless microphone, and we said, the speaker is here, just don't go near the speaker. And she kept pacing and walking by the speaker and then going, I did it again, you told me not to do it. It was so cute. It was so amazing. Then finally you were there. And everybody was as revved as they could possibly be.
Oh my gosh. And I was just like totally shocked. It was so fantastic.
Well, and
thanks to everyone, honestly. It just was, it's so funny though, Shannon, like a week before, or maybe 10 days before, I was telling someone, I think Kathy, that I've never seen a flash mob and that I would love to be a part of one or see one at some point. And I never knew this is already being planned.
All for you.
It's amazing.
All for you. So, and now we're going to go to another video that we're debuting for the first time here on the show. And I want to thank Kelby for all the great work that he did on this. There's a very special young man who you treated, and I know that you adore him, Logan.
Oh, yes.
And Logan is the reason why my family found Card, so he's a very special and inspirational young man to me. But we have this video for you guys to see because I think you'll find that he's inspirational to everyone.
Absolutely.
So take a look. This is Logan Shepherd.
Logan Shepherd. At first glance, he looks like a typical American teenager. He plays in a band, loves hanging out with his friends, he doesn't like doing homework, and he's not really fond of broccoli. But Logan Shepherd is not your typical 14-year-old. Logan was diagnosed with autism at the age of 2. He was nonverbal, made no eye contact, and his parents were told to abandon all hope. Instead, his parents began an intensive intervention treatment. At its center was a quality ABA program known as the CARD method. This is Logan Shepherd now.
All I really want to say is, like, I'm kind of copying Martin Luther King. I kind of have a dream, like, that one day, like, I can just, like, inspire people and never give up. Because, like, that's what I want to do in life. Because if I can succeed, they can succeed. And I will succeed.
To follow Logan's musical journey, visit www.facebook.com/officialdrummerrock or @drummerrock on Instagram. For more information on the CARD method, visit www.centerforautism.com or call 800-345-5555. C-A-R-D. Rock on, Logan.
Indeed, rock on, Logan. What an inspirational young man.
Oh
Kelby's going
my
to send that
gosh.
to you so that you'll
Thank
have
you,
it.
Kelby.
And
Oh
we
my
want to
gosh.
we want to thank the entire Shepherd family for
Absolutely. Love
inviting
the
us.
Shepherds.
They're amazing.
Amazing
I
people.
mean, they changed my life by telling me what was going on with their child so that I knew about CARD.
Right.
Which is, and I remember saying to his mom, what will I ever do to repay you? And she said, Shannon, you'll pay it forward. And that's how
what you are.
all of this came about, because I was like, I have to do that. She told me, so now I have to tell other people.
And that's what you're doing, so helping so many people. And I
Hope so.
have to say, Logie is one of my favorite. He's just the sweetest and cutest and always has been. Like, oh my God, this little guy at literally 2.5 years used to walk around the headquarters, you know, because we still had the Woodland Hills office with us at that time, the clinicians. And he used to just, and then my daughter, Charlie, was exactly the same age as Logan. So they used to do play dates. And then Charlie and Logie would hold hands, and they'd like, and Charlie was completely blonde back then too. And I have videos of the two of them, and they'd go from room to room saying hi to people. And it's crazy, you know, you look at, and it's funny because I literally have footage of Logan when he was 2, and he is, like, Charlie's trying to get his attention to do something together, to play together, and he has picked some sort of stick up or something, and he's actually doing this with it. And it's, you know, it's fascinating that he was able to turn that into such an amazing talent and skill. And he truly is, from the videos that I've seen, one of the most incredible drummers. And I don't know if you know, but drumming, I mean, you know that Genesis is my favorite band of all time. And that's because of the drumming. And so I don't know if you know that I have a drum set that my kids bought for me 3 years ago. And like, my dream has always been to learn how to drum. And it's amazing for me to see him and his hands and like what he's doing there. He's just incredible.
I think he'd probably be willing to give you some lessons.
I know, I'd love to
he
get some lessons from him.
He has some teachers that are like world-class rock star people. And I know tomorrow we're having on the show a very inspirational 16-year-old Alex Lynn, and the promoter Ned Spector. They're having an event on the 29th of this month at Universal City Walk. It's called Autism Rocks LA.
Wow.
And what I'm hearing is that Logan is going to be playing, and perhaps be playing with James Durbin. So
that's the Sunday.
It's the night before the Saturday where we're.
It's Friday night.
It's the Friday night.
That's actually good, because that's a possible day for me to do something. Yeah.
The next morning we all have to be at 5 o'clock in the morning in San Diego running with the military families.
Yeah. Now that you mention it,
But maybe you can go to the sound check.
No, I just realized that I'm going to be in San Diego as of Wednesday, because I'm seeing the families
there. There are many other opportunities to see this young man play, but I think this is pretty stellar that he's doing Autism Rocks LA.
What a beautiful video, and such an amazing thing. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much.
I know you love that kind of stuff better than anything else.
But it's I'm so embarrassed because there's so much attention on me, and I appreciate it, but I'm also...
You deserve it.
Let's move on.
Okay, we got to get some questions in. Okay. Dear Shannon and Dr. Doreen, how can we help our son, age 7, with his social skills? He often has conflicts with peers at recess, usually about not playing the way he wants them to. And then he responds by getting physical or saying inappropriate phrases to them and making them feel bad. I'm afraid he's not going to have anyone to play with soon. We have social stories, we read and role play typical situations, but it doesn't seem to be helping. And thanks.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this is the core reason that he's having this issue, obviously, is the lack of theory of mind. It's the perspective taking issue. So you're practicing things like how to interact, or doing social stories where, you know, kind of the child rehearses things not to do. But that's not the reason he's doing this. The reason he's doing this is because he's having a hard time seeing their perspective. So what you need to do is just work on the core reason and start teaching him how to take other people's perspectives. There's lots and lots of different ways that you can teach someone to gain other people's perspectives. One of the fun lessons that we used to do, and we still do with our kids, is the blindfold task, as you know. So you blindfold someone and have them describe how to get from one place to another from the perspective of the blindfolded person. So you blindfold an adult and have the child stand right behind them and say, you know, now you go right, now you take 3 steps, now you turn around, and so on and so forth, until they get to someplace. Or you actually tell the child to tell the adults instructions about how to do something, like get a toothbrush, open this, and while they're blindfolded. So the child becomes the eyes of this adult, and that, or this other child. And that is just one way to get our children to start seeing things from someone else's perspective. But it's a lot more than that. That just touches the core basic sensory skill of visual senses. There's so many other things that have to do with understanding other people's perspectives. This is one of those things where you would really benefit if you went on Skills. So go to skillsforautism.com and you will see there a whole section in the domain, or the domain name is cognition. And under cognition, you'll see if you just do the cognition domain for your child, answer all the questions in that assessment and say, it'll ask you, does your child do this or that? And you'll say no, 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 no to whatever he doesn't do. And it'll offer you all these lessons, many of which in the cognition domain have to do with perspective taking. Now, perspective taking is a core skill for multitudes of things, not just interacting socially, but developing empathy, being able to help others, being able to understand when others are laughing with you versus at you, being able to understand why people get defensive, just generally being able to understand others and analyze others. I would go there, I would do a lot of that. Another thing that I would do if I were you is there's a process called comic strips, and comic strips are pretty good in that when an experience like this happens, you sit with the child and you draw out stick figures. One stick figure is the child, another stick figure is the other people, the other children on the playground. And you use this visual stick figure drawings to kind of explain to the child, first you do what happened, so you draw out sort of the behaviors, then you do what were you thinking and what were you feeling, and we just do like a thought bubble on the child's head. And feeling, you just do a heart in their like heart area, and then the child will vocalize what he was thinking and feeling, and then you do it for the other people, and you prompt and you help your child understand that how did they feel when you said these things to them, and that they felt perhaps sad or didn't want to play with you. Because they felt this way, what's going to happen? And see, then that brings in the whole prerequisite of understanding causation. So your child has to be able to know that if they say something hurtful and these children actually feel hurt, what will result is they won't want to play with you. And all that is a series of earlier lessons. And that's why Shannon and I always say, you know, we often as parents try to get our kids to do some end result, and we do this with all kids, not just kids on the spectrum, but with all kids, typically developing kids. We practice an end result and it just doesn't happen. That's because some prerequisite is missing, where the child isn't quite understanding other people's perspectives and how his own behavior influences them.
Yeah, if we were going to teach you knitting, we wouldn't just say, you know, start knitting. We would teach you how to cast on first.
Yes, and we would teach you actually fine motor skills first. That's a really good example, because we would probably teach you some variations of grasp.
Yeah.
Which, when you're teaching those things, like if I'm teaching a pincer grasp, I'm just focusing on that, but the real reason is that you require that for handwriting, for writing. And so that's exactly the same. Great example. It's exactly the same when you look at social skills.
And two little notes that the cartoon bubbles, if you're not good at that, there is we talked about Pinterest last week. There's a whole bunch of Pinterest pins. If you search social skills and cartoon strips, where you can download them and start there. And then I think you'll get more comfortable
That's
with doing
very
it.
good, yes.
And I remember so much. It's so brilliant in skills, and I have my little skills reminder thing. It's 877-975-4559 is the phone number. 877-975-4559 or www.skillsforautism.com. I think it's so brilliant. We talked about perspective taking so much, and I knew before Jem came to that set of lessons that we were going to be focusing on that at some point. I just couldn't imagine how it was done. It's so clever in skills.
There's so many different ways. There's a lot of different games and activities that really force you. I mean, I like, one of the ones I like also is like throw a party for someone else.
Yeah.
And just being able to sit there and list all the things that you would do or invite or prepare.
Yeah.
Or, like make a dish for someone else. Like all that sort of stuff is pretty cool.
And then the sensory perspective taking part of it is just so brilliant.
Oh,
so
yeah.
so
It's
very,
very
brilliant
good.
and fun. I still remember when we worked on, because the parents get very involved with those sets of lessons because you need a third person.
Yes.
And it's really helpful for the parent because they begin to show you, well, mom can't see that.
Right.
You can see it, but mom can't see it. Go stand by mom. See,
Right.
she can't see that.
Yes.
It's really exciting stuff, heady stuff, and it's in skills, in the cognition curriculum, as you said. Okay, I think we should take a short break, and during this break, we want to show you, if possible, Kelby, the Nick Yates video that we were talking about in the car. Is that a possibility? Okay. Oh, it's 10 minutes long. We can't show it right now. We're going to show it later on. We're going to show it when we go to break. Instead, we're going to take a short break because we have more questions. We don't want to take up that time. So stick with us. Back with more Ask Dr. Doreen on this very special Superhero Day. We'll be right back.
Hi everyone, welcome back. It's April, which means it's also spring. And what we're going to be doing today is making our very own chia pets. What's cool about this project, it's an activity that you can revisit with your family as you watch it grow and change. All right, now that I piqued your interest, let's get to it. The materials we'll be needing are water, dirt, arts and craft materials, chia seeds, a container, and nylon. So let's get started. It's super easy. All you're gonna do is you're gonna take an old pair of nylons that you have, you're gonna cut off the toe, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna take some of your chia seeds and sprinkle them at the very bottom. We don't need too much, just a little bit. And then once I've got my chia seeds there, I'm gonna take my dirt and pour that in. And we wanna make sure that we've got quite a bit in there. You want to keep this tail. What this does is acts as a way to soak up the water to feed your little chia plant. So I'm going to take the bottom now. I'm going to tie this into a knot. So now that I've got this little guy, now it's time to decorate him. And you can decorate him however you feel like. What I did is that I made some little features out of felt that I'm going to add to my little guy to give him a face. Now that I've got them all decorated, I'm gonna pour some water into my container and make sure my tail is all nice and soaked up in there. And here's my little buddy. I made a mouse, but you can always make whatever kind of creature your child finds super reinforcing. Make sure they like the little animal that you make so they'll wanna come back and revisit him. As you can see right now, he's a little bald, but hopefully, keeping your fingers crossed, in a week he'll have some hair. With the snap of my fingers, we're gonna go through a week in a few seconds. And oh my gosh, this little guy has changed quite a bit. Can you see how? Yeah, he's got some hair now. You can have your kids describe how this little guy looks to their friends, and you can even work on body parts by having them label all the features that this little guy has on his face. So let's see, what does he have? He's got eyes, a nose, a mouth, and ears. What do you think will happen to him if I stop watering him? Yeah, he probably won't be growing any more hair if I did that. Well, I hope you enjoyed this activity. I know I did. Tune in next time, okay? And until then, craft on. Bye, guys.
You see me? Can you see me flying by your side?
Welcome back to Ask Dr. Doreen on this very special day. It is Card Spirit Week this week, and today is Superhero Day. That is why I am dressed as Card Mom, and that is why Dr. Grandpichet is dressed as Batgirl.
Batgirl. Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
Aren't you?
Thank
You're
you.
Batgirl.
Yeah.
In any case, we're having a good time with that. And in just a little while, Nancy will be in here, and she's going to be in costume as well. And I know, Nancy.
Something spectacular.
Nancy does not know how to do things by half, so we'll mentally prepare ourselves for what's to come. In any case, we want to get back to a couple more questions before our time is up because it's perilously close. Okay, good morning. Can you recommend any resources on teaching a 10-year-old how to use AAC? He's been using PECs, signs, gestures, and behavior, self-injury, and disruption up to this point. He now has a speech therapist to help him. Yay! But I would like to be more educated so I can help him too. Like you guys say, I don't want to be the weakest member of his team. Thanks for your help.
That's
love
so nice.
that.
That's awesome. Yes. There's specific people who train on AACs. So like we have therapists who teach our kids, these are AUG devices.
Right.
That can program the augmentative device and help your child get there. So I would recommend, I don't know where else the resource would be. I'm guessing there's a lot of resources online for if you want to self-teach yourself how to run an AUG device. But I would really suggest that you either get one of these professionals, and you should just look up training on augmentative communication device. And I'm sure you'll find people who do that. At CARD, we have a set of experts whose name is, they're visual experts, and that's what they do.
Wonderful. We have a bunch of birthday messages for you, and I'm not going to have time to read them all. But,
that's very nice.
But happy birthday, Dr. Grandpichet, our autism superhero.
Thank you
You are
so much.
amazing and incredible. Thank you for all you do. Happy birthday, Doctor. Can't wait till you finally visit Wisconsin, because I know you've got an office that's opening
We are.
there.
We're opening in Wisconsin, yes.
And we have hooked up the Wisconsin people with Mike Hipple, who watches the show regularly and
fabulous.
is an expert in AAC himself because he uses an AUG device. And he says here, I've been working with two amazing people, and they have been emailing, and we love
That's
that
very nice.
we've been able to finally get to Wisconsin, Mike. It's about time, right? They said they love the flash dance, and Dr. Grandpichet's expression is priceless. Everyone dancing are so adorable. Is that a Scooby-Doo in there? Was there a Scooby-Doo in there?
No, I don't
was
think
that
so. Maybe they were referring to magic.
Yeah, because there's a unicorn,
That's
Magic
our,
the unicorn.
yes.
That's the Skills mascot. Not to be confused with, we call Dr. Copeland a unicorn.
Oh, that's right.
Because
she's the only one that has
Right,
these different.
right.
That's right. That's
so that's
good.
getting confusing already. But anyway, they said, thank you, Dr. Doreen, for getting it. ABA, diet, medical, legal, insurance, etc.
Thank you.
Your show is so informative and brings so much courage, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Somebody says, Jem is great. Love those snazzy shoes. He was wearing his snazzy dance shoes, I have to say. Okay. Somebody else said, thank you, Shannon, Dr. Doreen. We love you both so much. Logie will give you a drum lesson anytime, Doreen. So there you go. Okay. Question that just came in. My son was recently diagnosed with mild intellectual disability, autistic disorder with accompanying intellectual impairment level 1, and attention deficit disorder, predominantly inattentive presentation. The assessment was done at the Children's Hospital, Los Angeles. My question is, should I share the diagnosis with the school? He's in a special day class under speech and language impairment. Don't want them to use the diagnosis to change his placement.
Yeah, I don't think they can use the diagnosis to change his placement. Again, as usual, the level 1 should pertain to one of the two domains. And a lot of people who diagnose, and perhaps that's not the case, and maybe in the report it outlines, but we should have two different scores on the level. Level 1 could pertain to his social communication, and then I don't know what pertains to his, let's say, repetitive stereotypical behavior domain. There's those two sections, but assuming they're both level 1, that means there's a very mild impairment here. There's not a very significant impairment, and it would make sense that you know, up to a few years ago, you couldn't really diagnose ADHD and autism together. This is very recent that we're doing this, and because the reason being that in most cases, children with ASD have some form of inattention going on. So that's, you know, it sort of overrides the other. But it's good to know that he has the ADHD issue going on as well. I don't know what benefit you would gain from telling the school. I do think he definitely needs intervention, and if your school can provide any help, then go ahead and share the information. That's the only reason to share with the school, is if they're going to provide help or assistance, or if you want accommodations. And sometimes we do want accommodations where we will ask for things like just more time or visual presentation of things to help with the attention. Or, you know, more time for examinations or examinations in a quiet environment, that sort of stuff. These are accommodations, and you can't get those unless you have some sort of IEP in place. So
But they must have an IEP if they're in a special day class.
absolutely, absolutely. So, and he has a speech diagnosis, I think, right?
Speech and language impairment is what he's in the special day class under.
So, you know, he doesn't. These other two things, ADHD and ASD, are different than speech and language impairment. Speech and language impairment is much, in my mind, it's more of a skill-related thing. Like you can teach someone the skills of speech. When someone has problems with attention and is exhibiting some abstract reasoning problems, let's say, those are much harder things to teach, and they require much more specialized intervention. So, you know, unless your school can provide that sort of intervention, which is really what you get from a cognitive behavioral ABA type program, then I don't see any reason for adding to his diagnosis.
But here's my follow-up on this. So not much to be gained by telling the school, but they should tell their insurance company and get an ABA program, right?
Definitely.
Okay.
And then once you get an ABA program, you need to make sure that it's not a basic ABA program. There's a big difference in ABA programs. There are some. We have this expertise, and there are some people who trained at CARD who have this expertise. And it's important to find someone who is able to do more of the cognitive behavioral types of ABA than just basic, you know, discrete trial. We're talking about a child who does not need to memorize labels per se, but rather needs to, let's say, practice ways to attend to the right thing, practice more abstract reasoning, inferences, those types of things. So it's kind of a very different, and you might like to go on skills and look at the executive functioning and cognition curricula, and there you'll kind of see some of the stuff I'm talking about.
Okay. Unfortunately, we are out of time because I want to get you out on time. I know you're busy and you have things to do.
Thank
but
you so
we
much.
so wish you happy birthday.
Thank you again.
Kelby will send you the link to the Logan Shepherd
Thank
video
you.
so that
Thank
you will
you,
have
Kelby.
that. And we'll make sure that you get a link with the flash mob with the sound.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
We'll keep you guys posted if we have a way to post it someplace where you guys can see it with the sound, because it really is so much more fun when you get to hear the good music. But thank all of you for writing in and participating with us, and thank you for being here. We'll see you next week. We are going to go now, excuse me, to that video that we were talking about with Nick Yates, one of the kids. He's a man now, not a kid anymore, but he was one of the kids featured in the film Recovered. So this is called The Road to Recovery with Nick Yates. When we come back, we'll be back with Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy. Nancy will be here where we will see the big unveil of what superhero she is. And we have a special guest from Waddell and Reed. We're going to be talking about them sponsoring the Autism Care and Treatment Today military fun run to benefit military families who have individuals in their family that are on the autism spectrum. And we're also going to be talking with them about financial planning, but it's going to be fun. We're dressed as superheroes. Don't get scared. But first, here is The Road to Recovery with Nick Yates. You went to school up in Washington, and then you spent some time working, and just recently you've returned back to the LA area.
Correct.
And what What are you hoping to achieve back here in LA? What's the plan?
You know, at the moment I don't really know what the long-term plan is, but I'm really enjoying the work I'm doing as an administrative assistant for the contracts department dealing with matters related to insurance. It really engages my mind.
Okay,
And
this I don't understand. Insurance is engaging?
yeah, it can be. I mean, just having to make sure that all your ducks are in a row, everybody's getting billed, has their authorizations. It's a complicated process, but I definitely like the challenge of it.
Like, what was your favorite class while you were at college?
So the way it works at Evergreen is that you have these multidisciplinary programs that usually make up a full-time load. My favorite program was one I took in my junior year called Writing American Cultures, which basically focused on aspirations and realities. I mean, one thing particularly focused on was the contrast between ideals and realities, or, you know, the challenge of what one thinks of themselves versus what others think of themselves. And it was reading books such as Invisible Man and Replaceable You that helped me to realize the consequences of letting others define us.
Yeah.
And that just allowed me to break free when I realized that, because I think for so long I think I succumbed to others' definitions of me, but I would not do that anymore, because you're going to end up believing that you're devoid of something rather than being something or somebody and discovering new hobbies and talents and skills.
And so now you feel like you are at a place where you fully accept yourself instead of looking for other people for validation?
I do.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I'm twice your age, and I don't think I'm there yet, Nick.
Well, thanks
So
for reassuring me.
that's pretty good that you're there at that young age. Everybody know what they want?
I do.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
How can I help you today?
Okay, Nick's gonna order first. Go for it.
I'd like to take a number 1, add grilled onions and pickles, animal-style fries, and a Coke, please.
What do you think the biggest struggle was when you were young?
I think the biggest struggle by far is obviously wanting to be accepted for who I am, who I was and who I am, and not be defined by a neurological condition because of the troubles of, you know, having...
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Maybe 1161.
Thank you. Sorry, we're talking about something really important.
Yeah.
Tubby
That's
didn't
fine.
even want a soda.
But anyway, you were asking me earlier what was like the most difficult thing.
And you were talking
I think it was
very eloquently.
I was talking about, you know, I found the biggest challenge by far is being accepted for who I was at a young age, because, you know, being diagnosed with autism at age 4.5 and then enter kindergarten while still struggling, and the fact that the Culver City Unified School District is small. You go to school with mostly the same people from kindergarten through 12th grade. So because of this was how I came across to and was remembered by a lot of my peers. So even after I had improved to a significant extent or recovered, I think I wasn't really seen as anything more than a neurological condition, and that just made it really hard for me to fit in socially.
And was it just the kids that you were going to school that made you feel like you didn't fit in, or was it everything?
It was really the kids, for the most part. Adults are a lot more kinder, although I can tell you I had one first grade teacher who once, I just don't think really understood what I was going through. And she actually one time told my parents that she didn't think I had any chance of succeeding. And hearing that just makes you like, wow. I mean, I feel sorry for her because she didn't understand, but still, when you are in a position where you're supposed to empower the lives of young individuals, you should never say anything like that. That's degrading.
So I gotta ask you though, because we get a lot of mail from people who say that they feel like ABA in particular causes people to feel like how they are and who they are isn't enough, and that ABA is trying to change them. And one of the things people have said to us is, where are all the adults who had ABA? And you know, why don't we see them? We hear parents talking about how great ABA is, but where are all the adults who had ABA?
Right.
So what do you think? Do you feel like ABA made you feel bad about who you are and changed who you were?
You know, there's definitely a period where after services ended for me, I didn't really want to have anything to do with CARD or any of that because I just felt that it just made life difficult, especially when I'd have therapists shadow me at school. And, you know, they weren't really there to really interact with me too much, but I had an idea, and you can tell people under something is up when people are looking at you weird and they're like, what is up with Nick? And you're just trying to fit in as best as you can. But now I'm like, why try to fit in when you were born to stand out? I read that somewhere. But it wasn't really until, you know, the Recovered documentary came around, and then when I worked at the old headquarters for a couple summers that I really, and my time in college, that I really started to look at this all in a different light. And, you know, if it weren't partly for that, if not entirely, I just wouldn't be where I am today.
Okay, so, and while we're talking about this, because you were featured in the movie Recovered, and that's a word that got used in conjunction with you, that you recovered from autism at what age?
Recovered at 10, even though my services didn't end until I was 14, gradually fading out.
Okay.
It was felt that there were still some things that I needed to improve.
So, do you use the word recovered? Do you say that about yourself? Do you say I recovered from autism?
I do, but you know, the way I look at it as, I probably still have some, I'll admit, I'm not perfect. I probably still have some characteristics and traits and symptoms that are characteristic of autism. But what they say is that, you know, you need to meet certain criteria in order to qualify for a diagnosis. So when you no longer meet the minimum criteria, then you would definitely be deemed recovered.
Right. And it's considered a diagnosis of a disorder.
Exactly.
Do you feel that you, at this point in your life, have a disorder?
Indeed, I sometimes, I think I, to a certain extent, I still do have disabilities in some way, but I do not let them hold me back. I don't let it hold me back, and I don't let it define who I am.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's eat.
Let's eat.
Any regrets?
No regrets. You know, I've had moments in life where, you know, maybe I could have said or done things differently, but, you know, experience is experience. It makes you wise, and I guess sometimes you have to go make a few mistakes to find out who you really are.
Why? You're so wise for your age, Nick. Why do you think that is? Is that just you, or is that your parents, or is that what you've been through, or a combo platter? What do you think?
Fact is, all I can say is I just know what I know. It doesn't really get any clearer than that. It's nothing.
You're very passionate about things, and you feel things so deeply, and I know how much you care about people, and you remain centered. So what ticks you off? What makes all that go away? Do you ever get mad and lose it?
I very rarely lose my temper, but definitely, let's say, there's some pet peeves that just drive me crazy, and sometimes I can be very sensitive, so if somebody just says something that makes me feel that way, that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I have a hard time with accepting feedback or being told things I don't necessarily like to hear, especially from my folks, but I try my best to respond as opposed to overreacting. Because you ultimately have to realize that nobody's against you.
I want to crochet that on a pillow. There are people who need to have that said to them on a regular basis. Yeah. Nobody's against you here. I'm probably one of them.
Well, thanks again for this. Made my day.
You're absolutely welcome. Thank you for going with us.
My pleasure.
Is there anything that you wish people knew about you?
You know, this is certainly what I would like to be remembered for when I die. I just wish everybody would always know that no matter what, I always try tried to be and do the best I could be and do every day. And that's all that really matters.
Absolutely. Welcome. Now I'm gonna cough.
You want me to start?
Yeah.
Welcome to Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy. Today is Superhero Day at CARD, Center for Autism and Related Disorders. And I am one of my superheroes, Shannon Penrod, superhero to moms everywhere, everywhere.
Well, right back at you. I am a card mom, which you are a card mom. So technically,
we are both.
I'm
me
you.
and me.
All right, you are a nut.
Do you want me to start singing?
No.
Have I ever told you you're my hero?
Oh, well, again, right back at you. We were talking about how she should be Teflon woman or Titanium woman because of all that she's been
I was
through.
going to be the queen of being knocked down and getting up again. I couldn't find my boxing gloves, par for the course, because I did used to do a little boxing. But I could only find a helmet to wear and all that. And then this is actually the idea of Ms. Amy Zhang.
Oh, how funny.
She said, what if you were Shannon? I'm like, that's brilliant. I said, can you get me a picture? And you're on the back of my mother's antique mirror, by the way, Frances Russo Allspaw. But I think everybody, and do you like my T-shirt? It's so you. Keep calm and carry on.
Is that me? Because, man,
that's what you do.
I want to be.
That's what you do. But I'm not just speaking for myself when I say, well, you are a superhero to me. I could not have gotten through this last year of my life without your help and support. Working with you is an absolute joy, and I'm gonna just don't interrupt me. And I know that parents out there everywhere feel you're a superhero to them, Shannon.
Thank you.
So, but tell us about the light.
So I'm card mom, and the future is so bright that I have to wear shades, and I've got my light on because a lot of times we're wandering around in the dark.
Yeah.
But a card mom is prepared, and we can't have a flashlight in our hands because our hands are busy and full. So I have my flashlight, my spelunking flashlight on.
And it's the light.
It even has a warning light if you click it enough times.
I might have to borrow that to run at night.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I've got an extra one.
You do? Okay.
You know what? We bought these when we went on retreat last year because I like to read in bed. But when I wear this at home in bed with my husband, he's like, what are you doing? But it's a really great thing for when you got to go someplace, when you hike or whatever. But no, so I'll send this one.
It probably looks really attractive when you have that on, and then you have maybe the things that stop the snoring and your mouth guard and your earplugs. Like that's.
I'm supposed to use the CPAP, but I don't do that. It's drawing.
It's so
dust.
sexy, all these things later in life, isn't it?
I know it is. But anyway, you got to put that down so we can see your pretty face because it's more interesting to see your pretty face.
But at each re-intro, I'm putting it up.
Okay, that's fine. If you got to do it.
All right, I will.
But I want to say to you that, I am your biggest fan. You are a superhero. And I said to you, I have never seen somebody go through what you've gone through in the last couple of months. And to do it with the grace that you have, you are a superhero.
Thank you. Trust me, there are many moments when I don't feel like one, and many challenging moments with my son. Over his grief, over his father's death, but
the fact that you rise to all of that and show up, I mean, you don't have to be perfect. Keep calm and carry on.
The calm part I don't always do,
right?
But the carry on, yeah. What else?
Swimming.
What choice?
There's a new Dory movie coming out this summer, and I can't wait because Just Keep Swimming is something I firmly believe in.
Okay.
And when you have to tread water, don't go under.
Treading water is good. There are a lot of days I do that. A lot of days.
Treading is fine. Okay.
You look so funny. It's just hilarious. I do have a cape here. So
you're rocking a cape. And it's funny that we both went with a red theme, too.
Yeah. Okay. All right, let's get into the news.
Yeah. We got a lot of news, and then we got a guest that's coming up in just a little while.
Yes, one of our great sponsors from Waddell & Reed, which is an investment company that is sponsoring our Actor Day for Military Families Run and Festival. And we're also going to talk a little bit about, eyes glaze over here, investing for the future for our children. I know
important.
it's like it's like fingernails on a chalkboard when you hear that. Investing for the future for our children. What about you? Like, I'm in chaos now. How do I invest for the future? But they're going to kind of simplify that.
There we go.
Okay.
Love that. Okay, so we got a big story in the news this week out of the University of Vermont, all about where individuals with autism look. And I thought this was particularly fascinating because we all want that eye contact. Like we're dying for the eye contact. We want the eye contact. But they did a study and saw that overwhelmingly, especially when it was a hot topic or an emotional topic, that's not where individuals with autism tend to look. But I was surprised at where they do look. Was it surprising to you that they look at the mouth?
It was surprising to me that they look at the mouth. And I noticed with Wyatt, he has a thing where he'll go and get Thomas toys or pictures, not toys. We phased those out a long time ago. But he'll get them on his iPad. And he'll say, is that a happy, sad, frustrated, anxious? And he points to the mouth, always. Always the mouth. Yeah.
Well, the mouth, honestly, if you think about it, is a huge part of how you determine what's happening.
Of course it is. I mean, sad. Although the eyes are a very big part.
They are, but I think it's more perspective taking wise. It's more we're wanting the eye contact. We covered a study, I don't know if you remember, like a year and a half ago, where researchers took a bunch of pictures of people in different situations, and they covered eyes and they covered mouth, and you were supposed to say what the emotion was, and it was confusing if you couldn't have one or the other. So, in any case, this study is very interesting, and they're saying,
here's what I really found interesting too.
Yeah.
Although it is unclear why children with ASD look at mouths more frequently during emotional conversations, Hutchins, the researcher, theorizes that talking about emotions strains executive function.
Isn't that funny?
Emotionally charged topics likely place high demand on working memory, which, when a threshold is surpassed, makes rendering information from the eye region particularly difficult, which kind of breaks my heart because, we're talking with Wyatt a lot about the death of his father, and it says talking about emotions is really hard and very draining for children with ASD. It's like driving in a snowstorm. And I was saying to you that he said to one of his therapists the other day, I'm a little anxious, I miss my dad. And he said, but I can take deep breaths when I miss my dad. I can drink water when I miss my dad. I can look at pictures when I miss my dad. So he knows some of the tools, but I can just, reading this, only imagine how difficult some of these things are for our kids, and my heart goes out to all of them.
Absolutely. We've had people on the show talk about how they can make eye contact for a period of time, but they're exhausted after, and that they need to go home and de-stress. And I see that in my son.
I don't know whether anybody has had this experience, but I actually have said to Wyatt, here, look at my eyes, and sometimes he'll say, I don't want to look at your eyes. I mean, it's just too much.
Jem is at a point where we've had conversations about it. And, he does pretty well, but there are days when we just don't have it. And I'll say to him, what's up with the eye contact, right? We just go right to there. Right. And he goes, sometimes it's just uncomfortable.
Huh. At least he can verbalize that to you. That's great.
And that's a great thing. And I have to think about that and go, well, then you don't always have to do it.
Although I notice when my son really wants something, and I keep looking up at the monitor. It's weird. The camera's right there, Nancy. When Wyatt really wants something, let me tell you, the eye contact is right on. He comes in, Mommy, can I have?
Right, he knows how to get
wow, you can really, that's good looking. Yeah.
And do you have the thing where when he gets a fever that it's like crazy good eye contact? Because that's what we have with Jem.
Yes. Which leads to that's a whole other show. Whether it's neuroinflammation and calming, whether something at that stage when they have a fever causes a change in the inflammation level of the brain for functioning. I don't know.
Jem has great eye contact with a low fever, and his language
is way better. Wyatt is too.
When he gets sick, I tend to be somebody who stays home when he gets sick, and I've had people say to me, you really don't have to. He's old enough, and your husband could stay with him, or somebody else could stay with him. I go, I would miss that. I go in and sit on his bed and we talk.
Right.
And I go, world at bay. My kid's got a fever.
He can talk more and make better eye contact.
It reminds me of that Awakenings, when they were there.
Yeah.
Like, where else would you be if you have the opportunity to be with them? There's no place I'd rather be. Anyway, here's
That's why You're my superhero.
All right. This is going to wear really old really fast, isn't it? Okay. You know how I always say the duh heard round the world?
Yes.
So a new study says autism being detected earlier, pediatricians seeing greater benefits.
Woo,
Duh!
really?
And this on the heels of the Prevention Task Force saying it's not necessary to do screenings for kids for autism because there really is no known benefit for that. But pediatricians are being told that it is important to do screenings. We're glad of that. And the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends children be tested for autism as early as 18 to 24 months.
Mm-hmm. But that's not mandated. It's a recommendation, correct?
Well, but it's up to us as parents to get in there at 18 months, I would say at 15 months, and start asking questions, especially if you're seeing that you're not making the milestones.
Why it started to regress at around, well, it was around 13, 14, 15 months. And at 2, I knew something was wrong, but we got the late diagnosis because, no, boys are a late talker. Well, you know the story.
Right. We saw some changes at 18 months, but big changes at 24 months. And pediatrician was like, oh, no, it's fine. He'll be fine later.
Yeah, we all know that story. So anyway, they also quote a mom whose child got in very early because at just 2 years old, she's been in an autism-specific early intervention program for 7 months, and the mom says it's just leaps and bounds, which is no shock. Okay.
Again, the duh heard round the world.
Yeah.
Okay, here's something interesting, though. A new bill has been proposed in the State of California Assembly by Assembly Member Travis Allen, who is a Republican from Orange County. It's AB 2832.
Okay.
It was introduced on February 19th, but I didn't hear about it until over the weekend,
anything.
which I think is very interesting.
Okay.
And what it does is it forces the state Department of Public Health within the California Health and Human Services Agency to disclose, let me get this exactly right, to maintain a conspicuous link to federal resources related to vaccine injuries, included but not limited to the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System and the National Vaccine Injury Compensation Program, and that they maintain it on the agency's internet website.
So it's only going to be on the website?
Yes. But
is there going to be a flyer handed to families that says that this could be some adverse reactions from vaccines?
That's not what this bill is asking for, but this bill, my understanding is that because we have a mandatory vaccine program here in the state of California, that there is no personal exemption anymore. Or religious exemption, that they're asking them, if you're requiring that, you need to post someplace publicly these things.
Yeah, but that's a website. How many people are going to go to a website before they go?
Baby steps.
Okay, sorry. And that is why she's a superhero.
I think, look, and we all say, I want to go on record as saying that I am not anti-vaccine, but I think that we should all be pro-information. And I personally think and believe very strongly that people should have the right to decide what happens with their body and with their children's bodies. And if you're going to say to somebody, you must do this, we live in the United States. You should be allowed to know what are the adverse...
Totally agree. And I do have a child that was affected by vaccines because he was tested for hyperimmune dysfunction. And the vaccines did affect my son. So I was a part, actually, of the, what they call the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System. And I did work with an attorney who was part of a class action suit for the, so this is a disclosure, National Vaccine Injury Compensation Event Reporting System. It was thrown out of court at some point. So I was part of a class action suit because my son did have a reaction to the vaccine. So, but I'm not anti-vaccine.
Right.
It's not one size fits all. And I think Bob Wright eloquently said in an interview with what's his name?
Your ex-husband.
He said, it's not one size fits all.
Right.
And, that there have been millions paid out. The controversy continues. By the way, I'm going to see Vaxxed, the very controversial film directed by Andrew Wakefield. And we hope to have Polly Tomy and Del Bigtree on coming up.
We've asked for interviews. We've not heard back.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
But you'll tell us about the movie next week.
Yeah, I will.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
We are going to take a break, and then we are going to come back with a fabulous guest that is joining us from Waddell and Reed.
Yes, Allison Fleming.
Allison Fleming.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you soon.
After these messages.
Okay.
Well, today is the One Hope Act Today for military families, 10K and 5K run, walk, and family fun festival.
Thanks for coming out to support this awesome cause.
What I'm trying to accomplish here is to get more people involved, more people to be aware of autism as a disorder so that they can be more involved in this effort to help people find resources.
Pull that belly button in, get a nice balance there.
This is an incredible event. I'm very passionate about it. Autism is affecting so many kids across the United States, and I also support our military.
2, 3, 4.
My name's Gunnery Sergeant Sean Tajma, working with the School of Infantry West. I'm currently running with 1st Light Armored Reconnaissance Battalion. I personally involved with this because my son Jacob has autism. I just want to say thanks to ACT Today for what they're doing to help my family and other military families with autism.
Here we go, let's hear it for the 2nd Light Infantry.
Some of the main sponsors here, of course, One Hope Wine is the title sponsor.
What we do is we donate 50% of our profits back to different partner charities, one of them being ACT Today that does a fantastic job.
ACT Today is very dear to my heart because when my husband was deployed, they were there when we didn't know how we were going to make things happen. They give so much to the military family, and it comes at a time when you just don't know how you're going to make ends meet. So to me, it's more than just an event, and it's more than just a grant. It's a gift.
All right, you guys, have we gone over the room?
Thank you all to the teams, to the individuals that donated to this fantastic cause out here again this year. The event got larger.
People ask me why military families with autism. Why does ACT Today have that as a special program? I'll tell you why. Because our military families should not have to fight two battles. One, to protect our country, and another, to get services for their children. They move so often. Every time they move, they have to start again. We owe it to them. And it just was a tremendous success. So I just want to say thanks to everybody for taking part in it.
Check this out, Marine. See all these wonderful people? All you gotta do next year, Marine, Double Dog, 2 for 100, sign up with me, staff or an email, and I'm gonna take you out here, do a little 5K, little PT early in the morning. After that, you're gonna have the time of your life. After that, I might even be able to get you a letter of appreciation, maybe a little libo time. How's that sound?
Sign up for next year because this is an event that comes on and on. It's a win-win situation here.
Autism. What is autism?
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 I've been asking myself that for a very, very long time.
Let me think about that one.
Trying to,
Jeez. Let me think.
Oh man, that's a big one. Yes.
Autism. Autism is a neurological disorder that affects many of our kids in different ways.
It's a learning disability that affects the cognitive functions of the brain.
A lot of people have the misconception that it's a disability, and it's really not.
I look at it as like a special gift.
When one person thinks differently from another.
It's an opportunity for everyone to learn to understand someone that's a little different than them.
Autism is the ability to educate.
They're given so much talent in different areas.
To me, autism means a chance to be with and be around people you really care about. Autism is beautiful.
It's a way of seeing the world differently.
It's always unique, totally intelligent, and sometimes mysterious.
Happiness that comes out of my son's hard work.
It's a movement.
Unpredictable.
Abstract.
Awesome. Love. The field I want to work in.
Laughter, fun, joy. Autism is beautiful to me.
I want you to remember these 3 words. There is hope.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy. For those of you who just are tuning in and you think that Nancy and I have lost our minds, I want you to know
We already have done that.
That happened a long time ago. But it is CARD Spirit Week here at CARD, where everybody celebrates the spirit of what the Center for Autism and Related Disorders does. And as people who take up space in this building, we also want to celebrate Dr. Dorian Grampiche and all the wonderful people and his CARD parents.
Yes.
We superheroed it up today. I am CARD mom, Nancy.
I am one of my top superheroes, Shannon Penrod, and I know she is a superhero to all of the viewers out there and so many people every day. So I know that you were a little shocked by this morning, and I have my T-shirt, Keep Calm and Carry On, which is so you.
Yes.
And
we need to fix Nancy's mic. Is that what you're telling me?
Oh,
Allison, we're gonna move your mic down just a little bit.
Okay, I'm gonna take off superhero.
It's all good.
Yeah,
It's all good.
Now
what we do is moms.
Is that better?
Keep calm and carry on.
Is that better?
Kelby says it's much better.
I'll put down Shannon for a minute, and I'll return to being Nancy. Now, let's introduce our guest. You know, we're becoming more like, people probably wonder if there's wine in here, because we're becoming more like Kathy Lee and Hoda. They call us Lucy and Ethel of autism, but we're becoming more like Kathy Lee and Hoda, I think. But no, it's coffee and water. So, unfortunately. So, we have Allison Fleming with us from Waddell & Reed, which is, tell us what Waddell & Reed is.
Well, we're a financial planning company. We also manage investments based in Kansas City, and I've been with the company since 1989.
Wow.
I'm a financial advisor. I ran an office for the company for about 20 years and then went back to working with clients again full-time.
Okay, well, first of all, I'm in awe of you and what you do because it's so foreign to me. And
it changes lives and helps lives.
It does.
And you guys do that in more than one way. I will say that my experience with you guys has been your affiliation with Autism Care and Treatment Today.
Yes.
And what an amazing thing that is.
And right before we came to introduce you, we saw a video on the run. Waddell & Reed is sponsoring the run. You're going to be a Purple Heart sponsor this year.
Yes.
Allison, why did you guys decide to step up and do that?
Well, from a local level, what prompted me was, of course, knowing you. But one of the advisors that I hired when I ran the office in Torrance is a father of an autistic son, and I really got to know the families, and he brought in a lot of families that needed financial planning help. And so those people are now with me, and they're just wonderful people.
Is that person somebody we both know?
It is.
We've had him on the show.
Yes, Doug Baker.
Doug Baker.
Yes, Doug Baker is one of my favorite people ever.
Well, we are big fans of Doug Baker, and Doug was on the show a couple of weeks ago. Talking about Scott, and he was part of our Autism Family Portrait. So, so you do know a lot of people. You know me, and you know, of course, that I have Wyatt. Doug had Scott. You see so many families. What do you see happening to families with children on the spectrum?
Well, I see it kind of going one of two directions. One is they either sort of curl up and don't address the issues, or they go and fight for what it is their child needs. But many times they get confused, and it is a financially devastating process.
Right.
And so financial planning is extremely important, and Doug really helped me understand that at a very deep level.
Okay.
Getting to know him and his family, and then as I have gone back into working with clients full-time, we now have about 400 clients, and it's amazing how many of them have either children, adult children, or children with autism or something that has not been diagnosed yet.
Right. Yeah, the rates are so high.
We need to get to the point as autism parents where this is just, we have a long list of things that we have to do, and this needs to become one of the things that is primary on that list of things to do.
Definitely.
We all need to suck it up a little bit. We said before that, you know, to Allison, that you say financial planning to autism
We do.
parents, and we glaze over and go into paralytic stress because, you know I have said before, you know, plan financial what? What is there to plan
Right.
with?
Yeah.
Right? We've spent that. We're
Right,
spending
right.
that. What are we planning with?
Right.
But that is not the way to be thinking.
Yeah.
That one of the things that we stress about more than anything else
The
is,
future of our children.
well, and what's going to happen when we're
When
not
we're gone.
here.
Right.
Right.
And we can't
Right.
plan. I mean, you've been going through this.
Yes.
And I remember being there with Reed and seeing him stress about, were you guys going to be okay? And you can't do it in that moment.
No, you can't. I'm here to tell you that after the crisis of, you know, when you have a loved one pass away, especially before your child is grown, or if you have a child with special needs,
Yeah.
it's a
forever.
huge, it's forever, and it's a huge thing to deal with financially, huge. And I think what we should do is take a break, and then we're going to ask Allison to give us some tips on some things that families can start to think about or start to do. Okay.
Okay.
Can we
And,
say
yeah.
this about what Ellen Reed, though, before we go?
Yes.
That the ATMF Fun Run is such a wonderful event, and it's happening on the 30th of April.
Yes, in
And it
San
can't
Diego.
happen in San Diego.
And Kelby, I think, has where you can. He'll put up the bottom, the super, or we
And-
also just had the video running.
And both Nancy and I have teams. I have the autism-live team. She has Wyatt's Warriors. Sign up to do that. But the reality of that day is it cannot happen. The day can't happen at all without sponsors.
It can't. Corporate sponsors
Yep.
are crucial to us, which is why we're indebted to Waddell and Reed, and One Hope Wine is our title sponsor. They're going to be joining us one day because they're a socially conscious give back company. They give something from their every label. And Waddell and Reed is just showing such a sensitivity. Why do you think more businesses don't?
I think it's always a difficult choice where businesses give money, but I think also that it needs to come from within the organization.
Yeah.
So individuals like myself, my partner Elizabeth, and I support the military
Yes.
all the time. In
You have
everything
military
we do.
family
We have
members.
military families, and we have autism families.
Yes, and you know
all
when
kinds-
they're combined,
that
that's
combines,
tough, isn't it?
It's really tough, and so we just support both ends of that. And corporately, our home office has also pitched in towards this sponsorship. So it's partially us locally and partially them corporately.
Which is kudos
be there.
to
So I
Waddell
hope
and
people
Reed.
stop by our booth too.
Yeah,
because that
I
would
hope
be
so
great
too.
to meet
And-
people.
Yes, and we just want to say that whenever you have an opportunity, it is incumbent upon all of us to spend our dollars wisely and give our business to people who get it.
Who give back.
And who give back.
So
And
Waddell
so-
and Reed gives back. So if you're
Yes.
looking for a finance, let's keep it in the family.
Yes.
Doug always impressed that upon me. Let's support businesses that support us.
Right. What's
so
the website to go to?
Waddell and Reed, for Waddell and
For
Reed.
Waddell and Reed, they can actually go to our website, Ruck Fleming. It's RUCHFLEMING .WRFA.com.
Okay. Fabulous.
And they can go to our website, act-today.org, to find out about Act Today for Military Families. There's a Conterra site you go to register. You have a team.
Yes. Autism Live.
I have a team, Wyatt's Warriors. As you said, CARD has many teams. I just want to say CARD has been amazing. Talk about team spirit.
Yeah.
They've got every office joining in. We're really ramping up for this. I said a minute ago, or 5 minutes ago, we were going to take a break and
Yes,
come back
let's do it now.
with Allison. We're going to take a break, come back, and don't glaze over. Come back. It's important to talk about some financial planning that we need to be aware of for our kiddos.
Absolutely.
Okay, stay with us. activists. In our last segment, we talked about step number 2, educate yourself. Step number 3 is get support. Now, any journey can feel overwhelming if you feel like you're walking it alone. Well, you're far from alone, because with 1 in 50 kids diagnosed with autism today, there are a lot of us out there. Of course, there's always the issue of financial support. Now, there's a handful of organizations out there that offer financial support to families in need. ACT Today, or Autism Care and Treatment Today, is one of them. Visit our website at www.act-today.org to find out more about our grant process. I want to talk about a different kind of support today, emotional support. Now, you can get that from other travelers on this path. Some of the best advice I've ever received is from the moms of other kids with autism who went to school with Wyatt or were involved with programs with him. Then there are the pioneers. These are the families that have gone through this years ago, and there was very little information out there. All of these people seem to have the desire to pay it forward. Now, one of them, Lisa Ackerman, who is one of my mentors, started an organization called TACA, Talk About Curing Autism. She actually took the concept of mentors and support groups and made it available to everybody. You can go to their website, talkaboutcuringautism.org, to find out more. During the first and most difficult year after Wyatt's diagnosis, I wrote an email to close family and friends, letting them know what was going on and the challenges our family was facing and why we dropped out of sight. I was amazed at the outpouring of love and affection and all the help I received from that email. First, you have to be vulnerable. You can't be afraid to ask. Try this out. Could you cook me a meal? Are you going to the market? Can you pick me up a few things? Could your kids play with my kid and make them feel included? Or can you come over and clean my house? Well, maybe not that last one, except with your best friend. And maybe the best support of all is having someone that listens, and that doesn't cost a dime. So until next time, surround yourself with the loving kindness of others and keep the faith.
And we're back.
We're back.
Welcome back
to Superhero Day at CARD. Welcome back to Autism Live.
I'm CARD Mom.
Yes.
And Nancy.
She's got the light at the end of the tunnel, and I am Superhero Shannon Penrod, Superhero to autism parents everywhere. I'll break into you are the wind beneath my wings if you don't stop.
Not do that.
Okay.
Because we have a very special guest. Allison Fleming is with us from Waddell and Reed, and my iPad just came out of its case and spilled water everywhere.
Oh, okay. While you're cleaning that up, I'm going to
keep calm and carry on.
We're going to keep calm and carry on. We've got Allison with us from Waddell and Reed. They are sponsoring. They are the Purple Heart sponsor of our Act Today, One Hope, Act Today for Military Families Run and Festival on April 30th in San Diego. You can go to act-today.org and find out about that. You can sponsor a team. You can support Shannon's team. You can support Wyatt's Warriors. You can support CARD. You can run. Come run. There's a fun run, a 10K, and a 5K.
Or be a virtual runner. You can just join Autism Live team or Wyatt's Warriors.
Or a CARD team. Anything. Anything. It all goes to the same pot.
Be a virtual runner.
So
it's a good thing to do to support a military family.
So Allison, we've heard why it's important to your firm to support families with special needs kids. Autism, is an epidemic. Many clients, many people that have it, including, my situation. You work with me now. And I just want to talk about, we always hear it. It's important to start planning. It's important, but we're in the firestorm. We're in the snowstorm of providing therapy and tutoring and any kind of intervention, biomedical. It's just downright overwhelming. What can you say to parents? I know that it's hard in the beginning to put financial planning first, but when should they start making financial planning a priority, and what are some simple things they can do? Is that too big of a question?
No, it's a good question.
Okay.
I believe that you don't have to have money to start with financial planning.
Love that.
So start off there.
Yeah, that sounds like a really good magic trick
Yes,
to me, though. How do you
have
do that?
to have an income to plan with,
Okay.
but
Okay.
you don't have to have a lot of money saved up already.
Okay.
Because most of our families don't come in with large amounts of assets to work with.
Right.
So we start with a cash flow.
Okay.
And we will look in depth and in reality at expenses. And what does it look like? And where do we go? We want to make sure that they've got the foundation in place of having that cash flow
Right.
done.
Right.
And then looking realistically at what the future may bring. So it may require lifestyle adjustments.
Yes.
It may not.
Right.
It just depends on the situation. So we'll talk about the estate planning that's done to make sure that our special needs family members are taken care of even when people are gone.
Yes.
We'll also-
and you know, full disclosure here that we came in to meet with Allison a couple of years back when Reed was still alive, and we were very concerned because of cancer and his illness, he was not able to work, and we lost a huge chunk of our money. We ended up, you know, this is like I'm an open book here.
Yeah.
We did sell our home in a short sale because we could no longer afford to stay there. And we moved to a rental home so we could start getting back on our feet.
And you did a great job.
Well, thank you. And you also have been working with me since Reed passed away 2 months ago to try to get back on my feet now and dealing with being a single mom raising a child with autism. So I do know that you believe you can start small because I started very small, and you think that just looking at how much is going out and thinking about what's coming in and maybe taking a little bit of that and investing?
A little bit of that in investing. You want to look at what are the ways that assets are titled.
Okay.
Because we have found many families come in with, say, custodial accounts in the special needs child's Social Security number.
Yes.
That may harm them for benefits, and then unwinding that is a little complicated sometimes.
Okay.
So we need to make sure that everything is titled correctly and that none of the assets eventually will end up harming the future situation for the autistic child.
Because my understanding is that there might be services that they would be entitled to, but if they have an account in that name, they are ineligible.
Possibly. Sometimes.
Which is scary.
Yeah. So, and you want to make sure that grandparents aren't being really nice and leaving money directly to our special needs kids, because that also can blow out some of the benefits that they might be entitled to.
So is it better for grandparents, they're allowed to give a certain amount each year, right?
Sure.
Out of
Sure.
Okay. So do you encourage that for grandparents to do?
I think it's a great idea to give. Just give correctly.
Okay. Now, you had set up something for Wyatt that is an account that's a college. Can you explain what that is?
That one is a 529 plan, which
529.
is one of the college savings vehicles.
Okay.
Not every autistic child is college bound.
Right.
Some of them are.
Right.
Some of them are not. So if they are college bound, then it's a great way to save for college. If they're not college bound, then there'll be tax penalties if you take it out from a 529. So you need to be careful again on how that is titled.
Okay.
And is the 529 where you can use it to go to college, but you can also use it for any kind of educational, like vocational, like
higher education.
If he wanted to go to chef school, but it's not a college.
Yeah, vocational school.
Okay.
Trade
okay.
school, all of
so
that.
So that
is fine.
seems like something every one of our kids would benefit from, right?
Possibly.
Or the majority. Okay.
Yeah.
As there are become more vocational schools that can deal with the wide range of our spectrum.
Yes.
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 We don't have enough of those right now, and so somebody, if they had an individual who was very profoundly affected and there weren't vocational schools, they could actually lose some of their money to a penalty if they take it out for healthcare costs. I think that's what we're talking about.
It has to be used for college or higher education.
Higher education, and it's a
tuition,
529.
room and board, 529, but that's not the only choice.
It's not the only
for
choice.
saving for college or vocational schools or things like that. So that's again part of the financial planning process to see, because it's not the right solution for everyone.
Right.
Okay.
It continues that thing of one size does not fit all
Right.
in our
Not at
community,
all.
Right.
which is why you need to get an expert to sit with you and look at your particular circumstance. Because mine isn't going to be the same as yours,
No.
yours isn't going to be the same as mine,
No.
and everybody else's
Yeah.
is going to be different too.
Right.
What are some other simple things a parent can do to plan for their child's future if they have a child on the spectrum that they, think, I mean, I'm at the point where I think, well, maybe Wyatt will be independent, but possibly living in a community of other kids. Hopefully we'll have more of those where he will be able to have a job and do things, but he might be in more of a communal type setting. So what are some of the things that you would advise to parents, whether their children are very high functioning, severe, wherever they are on the spectrum, that they could start doing to help plan for their child's future?
Every little bit counts. I think understanding the trajectory for your family is really important. I also think that protecting against unexpected events is really important. Long-term care is one of those things that we have really found has been an issue for families.
Shannon and I look at each other.
Because it's like, she's hiding now. No, it's one of the major issues of things that can blow up somebody's financial plan, is that if the parents or the grandparents have a long-term care event occur, the costs can be crazy. So there are lots of different ways to handle that. Most of them are done through insurance of various types. But it's not always the traditional type of long-term care where you just pay and pay and pay, and if you don't use it, oh well, you lost that money. To a premium, there are asset-based long-term care plans that work for certain people. If they have money that they can set aside towards that end, there are programs that are really, really good that can help offset that risk.
Okay.
And both of us have been through things in the last 4 years while we've been doing this show that in our 30s, I don't think either one of us, if somebody had told us, I think we just would have run screaming with our hair on fire into traffic, right?
Yeah,
But
I
we
know.
managed to get through them. But
Yeah.
we've had conversations where we've said, did you know that this, this, and this? I mean, we've lost 3 parents between us in the last 4 years.
Yes.
And your husband.
Uh-huh.
And I know all of those losses have made me look at things differently because I go, oh, I see where this is going.
Oh, yeah.
And the long-term care thing is a very scary thing.
It's a very scary thing because I can tell you that the amount that when Reed was in a care facility, what Medicare provides is not necessarily the best situation, and most of it's private pay. And we did have a long-term care policy that lapsed. We're talking about that again. And I am so fortunate that both my parents were in their own home in Virginia. They had downsized into a very small condo, and they had caregivers there round the clock that were very inexpensive, I have to say, and they both died at home. And so I didn't have to deal with long-term care for my parents, and you didn't have to deal with it for your mother, did you?
Well, we were certainly looking at it. My mother left sooner than we thought she was going to leave.
Right.
But I don't know what we were going to do.
And that's what families
I don't
find,
know
right,
what we were
Allison?
gonna
They
do.
say, what are
Yeah.
we going to do?
Yeah.
We can't pay $10,000 a month for this facility.
Nope.
For mom or dad, or for my husband, or
Tough
for my wife.
decisions.
Right.
Very tough
And how do you
decisions.
work, this expectation of, oh, well, you'll stay home and take care of them, and you're taking care of a child with autism, and you have to work. I mean, it's frightening. It's frightening.
So instead of screaming and running away,
Into traffic with our
into
hair on
traffic
fire?
with your hair on
Yes.
fire,
You
a
have other
better
ideas?
solution would be to look at what the alternatives might be.
Yeah.
And there might not be a perfect solution in somebody's given financial situation, but there's always something that can be done.
And I find that once you know what the options are, that feels better than just staring into the abyss and going, I don't want to look at it.
I
It just
know.
relieves.
It never goes away.
It relieves your mind to at least
It
know
does.
what it is.
And to have a plan, no matter how small. Remember, it only takes one drop, and then that drop starts going like this, and then before you know it, it's a tsunami.
Exactly. Exactly. I would say the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
How to drop of water.
Yeah, and for some of the younger parents, I think, listening today, it's an opportunity to get started now, right?
The sooner you start, the easier it is.
Right. But a lot of our families are a little scared of meeting with people that have titles because they're afraid of being taken advantage of. Is there something they need to look for when working with a company? Obviously, Waddell & Reed is a very reputable company, but are there certain titles people need to have? Or
I would just say that I would recommend people work with a certified financial planner.
Okay.
And that, if you look at the Certified Financial Planner website, that'll give you the code of conduct that all CFPs have to follow.
Okay.
And so we're held to a higher standard of accountability for our profession. And so I think that would be something important to look for. And also just investigate the advisor that you're working with. Make sure that they're fully licensed. And you can find out all about if they have complaints or if they have any kind of credit issues themselves or anything like that. That's all available public information.
Yeah, the internet is a gold mine of.
So I just think, check them out. And my opinion is most advisors who are going to work with special needs families are good people who have the best interest of the families at heart.
And a lot of them are there because of a personal connection.
Yes.
Right?
It's not an area that advisors just decide to do one day.
Okay.
It would be something that's impacted them personally. So I think that's...
And again, Waddell & Reed, Nancy and I both subscribe to the idea that who supports you. And
Waddell & Reed is supporting our community.
In a very important way.
With Act a Day for Military Families, the One Hope Act a Day for Military Families run, walk, and festival. Wyatt and I are going to, Wyatt's coming down with me, and you and the fam are going to be there. Jem and Jim.
Jim's not going to be able to be
there.
Okay,
but Jem.
Yes.
And it's so much fun. We have this fantastic band at the festival. We have the One Hope Wine and Beer Garden, which is always popular with the Marines and the soldiers.
And we do need to say that there are some amazing young men and women that step up and protect our country in ways that we can't even begin to imagine. They're there. They're all young and fit and good looking. It's a wonderful thing. It's a little intimidating, but it's a wonderful thing.
I do want to say I get asked a lot why we have, and it's just one of our programs at Act Today, by the way, Act Today for Military Families. But why do we have that? Because we get sometimes people say, well, TRICARE has better insurance than my insurance. It's really more about the lifestyle of the family and what happens with the military family. On average, most military families move every 2 years. Many times they have a parent who is deployed or in training.
Right.
We all know how difficult everything is for our children with change. You take those two factors alone and put them into the mix of autism, and it is incredibly stressful. Yes. Oftentimes, our kids have a parent will come home that has PTSD. Shannon and I think on this show we have featured a phone call with a Marine, a Purple Heart, who two-time Purple Heart winner, who awardee. I don't guess it's a winner. That's not something you
not
win.
A contest.
Not a contest you want to be in, but a two-time Purple Heart recipient. And living in rural Virginia, and 2 kids on the spectrum, and they couldn't afford to put a fence around their property because their kids eloped. And the struggles these families face are extraordinary. And so we want, that's why. And why? I think why is because it's the right thing to do.
It is the right thing to do, and I think it's important. People say, well, TRICARE is so good now.
But
you need to remember that is so recent that 2 years ago, a lot of military, unless they were active duty, so you could be a Purple Heart recipient and not be active duty, and your kids weren't eligible for any insurance funding.
That's what happened to this father.
So we have these families that, yes, maybe they have coverage now, but with autism, it's all about catching up.
My nephew's going to lose his coverage. He's going to be a missionary and leaving the Navy, and he's going to lose his TRICARE.
So important that we celebrate these people who have devoted their lives to helping us.
Yes.
As I said in my mission statement about why we're running, that these young men and women have a battle at home that we know about, but they are also willing to go, and sometimes are going overseas and taking care of business for us. we need to make sure that their battle at home is possible.
Yeah.
Like it is for us.
They shouldn't have to come home and fight yet another battle to help their kids.
That's
it's
right.
just, it's not right.
We've got 2
Okay.
minutes here to the end of the show, so we really want to thank you. We want to give you an opportunity to say your website again.
Okay. It is Ruck Fleming, RUCHFLEMING .WRFA.com.
And this, if they're anywhere in Southern California that they could be in contact with you, can they, if they're further away, can they be in contact with you?
Yes,
Okay.
we are licensed everywhere.
Oh.
And so we can work remotely. I just did a conference call this morning with a client who is in Wyoming.
Okay. So you can deal with them directly. What a great thing to do. And you are getting the help that you need while supporting companies that are supporting our families as well.
Absolutely.
Very important. Thank you,
And thank you
Allison.
so much for having me today.
Thank you for being
We're
here.
thrilled to have you here. Tomorrow on the show.
Are we saying goodbye now?
We have to say goodbye.
Oh.
Tomorrow on the show, we've got a great show for you. We're having that 16-year-old who is putting together Autism Rocks LA. Great concert. And Ned Spector, who is the producer for that. James Durbin is going to be singing at that. We believe that Logan Shepard is going to be playing the drums. You're freaking me out with this. We've got 30 seconds. We are also having Spectrum Laboratory on the show tomorrow. A group of young people. They work with individuals who are on the spectrum, making the most hilarious and wonderful music videos. So fabulous. And we've got a gentleman who has invented the shoelaces that can get all of our kids to be able to tie their shoes. So that's happening tomorrow. You don't want to miss any of that.
No, you
Thank
do
you,
not.
Nancy, for
Thank you.
completely throwing me off my game.
My superhero Shannon
And
signing
Nancy
off.
is my favorite superhero. So
Keep
until
calm and
tomorrow-
carry on.
Yes, keep calm and carry on. Until tomorrow, give your kiddos a hug from me.
And give your kiddos a hug from me, because I'm Shannon, and that's what I say.
And one for you as well from Nancy. Bye-bye for now.